Guest who is amazing. So we're going to bring her on right now. So welcome in. We have, now I'm going to say this the proper way now. Taura Stinson, how are we doing today? Welcome to This Week in
Uh,
Music.
Thank you. Hi.
Welcome, Tara. Everybody,
We'll give
round
you-
of applause.
yes, we'll give you some applause there. So I love to let the guests maybe introduce themselves. So I would say if you're going to describe yourself in like 30 to 45 seconds or less, who is Taura Stinson?
Oh, okay. Taura Stinson. I am a woman. I am a Black woman. I am a freedom fighter for music, for music artists, writers. I speak your name in rooms that your feet have yet to enter. I am a songwriter. I am a believer. Yeah, I'm here.
You're here. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carol. I know you want to start off with the first question. I have a bunch of
Yes.
questions for you too, but I'll defer to
You
you
know,
first, Carol.
First, I have to do the Hollywood intro where you talk about all your nominations and all the amazing things that you've done. Because Tara, in all of her humility, decided she wasn't going to do that. So we're going to do that now.
Yeah.
Taura Stinson is an American songwriter, producer, musician, composer, and author. She has co-written songs for artists including Deborah Cox, Cynthia Erivo, Kelly Rowland, Destiny's Child, Khalees, and Jennifer Hudson. She has also written songs for films such as Step, Mudbound, and Black Nativity, and for TV programs including Underground, Twin Peaks, and Insecure. We haven't even got to what she's done this year. So she's
Yes.
also Oscar nominated and Grammy nominated. And yeah,
Yeah. There we go.
we had to do the Hollywood version.
Yes. So
Real
welcome
Award
in.
winner, Black Real Award winner, and
Yeah.
Choice Award winner.
All right. Congrats. I see you, Tony 2K Raptors. Alex is here in the chat. Nerd Chris, hello. Holly, welcome in. If you have a question, please put exclamation point Q and put the question after that. We'll try to get to that. My
I had
first
no idea
question.
it was live. How cool!
Yes, that's live. That's what we do. We're on Twitch, so that's what we do here.
I don't
Um,
awesome.
I'm curious if you could tell us from your first major song, Gangster Lean, to now, what have you learned about the music industry that it continues to stick with you?
Um, well, I know that the fittest survive. I know that the more if you're talented, and this is what you were supposed to do, because sometimes we diverge, we make a diversion and get in our own way. So if this was actually your path, that if you stick to it and you stick to it and you stick to it, you're going to land somewhere. That's what I know for sure. You're gonna land where you're supposed to.
You worked with a lot of artists. You've observed a lot of artists in terms of their process. How have you continued to just grow and become and stay like a phenomenal writer? Because not only have you written songs, music, books, like you are a talented writer. How do you maintain that and grow?
Thank you. I don't know. I think I just keep going. I was raised by a single mom in East Oakland, California, I was born in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. My mother was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and she was raised in a time where, and in the South, where you had to either be strong or die. And even the strong died back then, So when she raised me, she taught me never to give up. And I know it sounds cliche, but it really is what happened. And I didn't. I just continued to go on and on and on and on, and kind of stop and reinvent yourself every now and again. I did take a hiatus around 2000, probably 2009, 2010, 2009. I became a personal assistant, and I just kind of learned the things that are very valuable to me now, because the business changed so much, and now everything is about being able to do things yourself and to be autonomous. And so I learned a lot of those things from the people that I worked with, and kind of took a step back from music for a second, and then came back in with the vengeance.
Interesting. Yes. Go ahead, Carolyn. I know you have a couple of questions there. We've
got a
three
little
now.
disconnected, so I missed most of that answer. Am I good in terms of connection and sound?
I think you're kind of coming in and out,
Okay,
but
you
go ahead
guys.
and try to ask your question. We'll see if we can get it.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. I just want to ask Taura, can you talk about the trajectory of your idea of success over the years? Maybe when you first started to get those first few credits, and now that we're going to say seasoned in getting certain opportunities, how has your idea of success or your definition of success changed over the course of your career?
I'm gonna say when I first started, I want to say when I first got my first record deal, I had to have been 19, you know? So it was a lot different. Let me tell you, I wish I had a penthouse in lower Manhattan like we did when we were recording our album. So we had an album. I was in a group called Image with the incredible my sister Brayley Evans and my sister Micah Montgomery. And we had this penthouse on Bleecker Street, 144 Bleecker Street. And I hated it. All I wanted to do was go back to Oakland. I was just like, I just want to go home. Their fruit is brown. I didn't really understand the magnitude of the blessing that I was standing in. If I had it to do over, I'm not. Even, I know that wasn't the question you asked. I would have stood in that and realized how important those unhumble beginnings were. It was just like we were thrust into it. We were with hip hop royalty. We created this album, and honestly, I had no idea. I didn't know what I was going to do. The trajectory for me was to make it to a show because I was in a group and I didn't want to perform. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. So I'm like, oh God, okay, so I have to perform tonight. Oh my Lord, just let me make it through the night. That was the trajectory. And then when one of the girls decided to go solo, when Micah, I'm not going to say one of them, when Micah decided to go solo, Brayley was like the Matthew Knowles of the group. She was like, well, let's just get another girl and move on. And I was like, no. By that time, I had written Gangsta and I was just like, no, I just want to try this writing thing. And from that moment, from saying that to this moment, I just knew that in some capacity, be it as a journalist, a screenwriter, a bubblegum rap rhymer, I was going to be a writer of some kind. So the only thing that is different is that I never knew. I just thought that I would move through and I would be maybe like writing articles, and I thought for sure I was gonna like review music for like a magazine. So I'm happy with where I am and the blessings that God continues to bestow on me, and continuing trajectories as they evolve.
When we talk about kind of how the music industry is now, I know you've previously said that it all comes back to real music. What is your thought on kind of the music that's out now, and what sounds are you listening to?
To be honest, there's some really good music out there right now. But unfortunately, it's a lot of or fortunately, but the music that's really good that I'm really connecting with are a lot of like things that are bubbling beneath the surface, not necessarily what's the mainstream. The mainstream is a chaotic place right now. um, and in some regards, and some, there's some other people that I really connect with, but um on, like there's a girl named Green Teen Pang. I don't know if you guys have vibe with her, but she's like um from from London, and she's like super super dope, and I just love what she's doing. And I have like all these amazing friends that like release music, and I continue to support, not just because it's dope, but because it's just dope. I mean, because I know them, but because they're so dope. And that's like Darian Dorsey, and he has a record called 1970 Free. And just like and just the way the music is right now keeps me committed to being a writer for TV and film as much as possible.
All right.
Mhm.
What was it like fulfilling one of your goals of working with Little Dragon?
Oh, crazy. Wow, I've never been asked that question. Yukimi is like I love, 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 love Yukimi's voice. I like her first album. I think I probably single-handedly exposed North Hollywood to Little Dragon when they first came out. They had the song Spice. It was just like my jam, and I was like all over it. And so when I finally wrote, the song was called Just on Raphael's album, and it was just kind of like it was surreal because she was in London, or I think actually on tour at that time. So we only had very brief communication, and it was a bucket list check that came fairly soon. You know what I mean? Sometimes like you check them and then they come later in your career. It felt like I dreamt it and it came right before me. It was amazing.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Carolyn, did you have another follow-up question?
I am just enamored with the idea of the career being the gift, right? Having the career is the success. And you didn't directly say it, but it sounded like that is the success, that you continue to have new and different opportunities, yet still have the foundation of being a songwriter. I do want to broach the topic of the importance of words, right? We talk about music, and you are a writer who is so true to putting so much thought and forethought into your lyrics. Do you want to talk about the state of lyrics in the music industry around this time? You brought it up, Greetine King. Her song is Human, or the one that's really big and getting a lot of traction is Human. Are there some other songs, not only that you have written, but other ones that are current that made you feel a way because they had amazing lyrics? So it's a two-part question. Talk about the state of lyrics in the industry right now, regardless of genre, but also mention some songs that maybe their lyric content would get someone really a different or new experience.
I'm literally like sneaking and looking at Spotify to find something.
That's okay.
Really,
you can sing.
I think like to be honest, okay, so what the universe has given us that is a fairly recent gift is Frank Ocean. And he lyrically, he is a masterpiece in every way, as is Kendrick Lamar. And when it comes to I always like to sing the praises of the unsung heroes. So there's like a duo called God. Good Ass Women Deserve. That's the acronym, is what it stands for. And they are like incredible. They are, I think they're working with Anderson .Paak right now. Pac, tomato. But whatever his mama or whoever named him, he's amazing. But they are they have like such different approaches on lyric that it just makes me they have the song called Wink, and it's very suggestive, and it's just like you don't know what that's about when you see the title Wink, but it's just like you can take me all night, not a wink of sleep. That's pretty much and I just thought, and sometimes I'm into and then on the flip side of things, there's an artist, I'm not even sure of her name, but she has a song called Evil Eye, and she's like a Afrobeats artist who's it's a gospel song, and so I'm all over the place, and I turn over every stone. Is that how you put it?
Mm-hmm. No stone unturned.
None of them. I love to listen to just put it on a country playlist. One song that inspired me, go to that radio, and I'm just gone all day. So there's a lot of good lyrics out there, but again, the machine pushes, monotony and makes us believe in certain things that don't deserve that shot. But then there's some that are like super dope.
Yeah. What's up, Cece? I see you here. Acura, hello. Good to see you all. When you say the machine, I'm curious, how have you been able to navigate with and through the machine and not let it deter your career progression?
Um, I firmly believe that God orders my footsteps. Um, you can call him God, you can call her God, you can call it the universe. For me personally, I believe that they all conspire to lead and guide me. I have this mantra, and it's believe, become. I have a tattooed and all around my house. Like, I'm sure it's right here. It's like a little rock. It says believe, become. And,
Nice.
it is my mantra, and it's what I believe, that good or bad, we become what we believe. And so I try to think the best of myself, my surroundings, my people, my finance, my bank account, my friend group. Like, you think the best of it, and it really ends up, if you thinking the best 100% of the time, I feel like an 80% return comes to you, because
Interesting.
it's the good and the bad. It's 80/20 rule for everything. That's another thing I believe in.
Okay. All right. And then when it comes to advice, because we have a lot of students or young musicians who are kind of up and coming or wanting to get into the industry, and when
Hmm.
they ask you for advice about how to navigate and succeed in the industry, what advice do you give kind of the younger generation?
Do it yourself. That's a big thing, that a big takeaway that I think a lot of people are looking for. Like, hey, can you hook me up with, or do you know, or do you think that will work with me? And possibly. But the truth is this: like, nobody's gonna have a real reaction until they press play, and there's something good coming out of the speaker. And so if you're doing the work, everything else follows. They have all these new ways of contact and communication that we didn't have. Thankfully, I'm so happy there was an Instagram in the 90s. But I digress. Um, but being able to have access to social media, and the other what's it called, like metaverses and all these things that are on the way, there's just like waiting for someone to guide you when you were born with your own um, compass that's going to guide you. I think is the biggest disservice that people do, artists do to themselves.
Interesting. Over to you, Carolyn.
I want to ask you to follow that question. You wrote a book called Everything a Black Girl Should Know.
Hmm.
And I want you to, what is everything, not just a black girl, but a musician should know? Not everything, but what's a mantra or a lesson from your book that translates to music industry, that translates to do it yourself? Um, in terms of the belief in the become, you know what I mean? What is a practice or an exercise or something that we can leave with our music business students and those who are watching today that can um, put something into practice that would demonstrate these ideas that you're giving?
Okay, sure. 100 things every black girl should know. That's my book title. And it's not, and I wrote that because I'm writing it to myself, my little girl self. So I am a black girl, but everyone can learn from the different lessons. There's 100 lessons broken up into 10 chapters each. And 10 chapters makes 100 lessons. I say for the music, I'm gonna act like I was prepared for that question. But I'm going. I what keeps jumping out at me, and especially like maybe with our current environment, is to put on your mask first. You know, when we have right now, it's a lot less metaphorical than it was when I wrote it. But if you can't, like, there's a lot of it goes back to, I guess, like my grandma used to say, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. And so we're supposed to listen more. We're supposed to, like, when I say put on your mask first, meaning like all the things that you need to grow and save and propel yourself first, before you go and try and teach someone else and lead them astray, before you go and try and just jump ahead of the curve, or jump ahead instead of just like being okay with where you are, jumping ahead in a way that, I'll give you an example. I work with an artist who she's completely talented, but she's like, oh yeah, I want to meet with so and so. I'm like, well, have you, if you got a record deal today, would you understand the terms and what they mean? And she's like, oh yeah, of course I would understand. Okay, well, let me throw a couple at you. And then, oh no, 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 I don't know. I don't even know what perpetuity. What does perpetuity mean? Do you know what that means? Forever. No, that's what that means. Like you can't not know that and and hope that you're going to sign a record deal tomorrow. You have to familiarize yourself with all of um, the ins and outs of what you're about to get into, because it's going to be a big chunk of your life, for students in the music industry. If your goal is to get a record deal or to get a music publishing deal, which you could wait on, because well, if this is, I have to address that. So if this is music industry students, and you're a songwriter, you might want to wait on getting a publishing deal, if ever. Maybe just an admin deal, just someone to make sure that everything is being properly calculated. But I'm sorry, I had to speak to the songwriters.
That's
Um,
good. That's good. Yeah.
but mostly my thing is education is really the key. I'd say to everything. Someone asked me the other day, if I could write a letter to Joe Biden right now, what would it be about? And I'm like, and everyone's kind of stance was like gun control. And my thing is education, because if we had free education like most countries do, like a lot of countries do, then we have a lot of less people that feel like they can't, that they have no trajectory in their life, like they're headed nowhere, that we have a lot of less hopelessness. So education, I'd have to say, is going to be key for anybody wanting to be a songwriter, um, a performer, an executive. They're all needed because the music industry is changing every single day. Like it's almost like the wild wild west, where we can recreate new rules and implement new practices and fairness, maybe even. um,
Yeah.
but we need people. In order to do that, you can't just talk about it, you have to educate yourselves.
To follow up with that, why do you feel that songwriters should wait on a publishing deal and maybe only get an admin deal? Why is that important?
I'll be completely transparent with that. I was signed to a publishing deal from the time I was 23 years old until maybe 3 years, 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm only 30, but that.
I
Well,
know, 49, just turned 30.
but no, but it was a long time, and it was hard to get out of. And people think that it's just going to be like, oh, I can just get out of it. It's usually not the case. Um, and I'm not specifically speaking to my former publisher, but there are a lot of predators out there, people that will steal from you, lie to you, and publishing, to bank on your future with a check is just not the smartest thing. And that's how it's presented to us. It's like, oh, here's $30,000 or here's $200,000. We're going to take half of your business, and then we'll give it back to you when we get ready. It's the only business that's the kind of like that's the model. And it's predatory and it's disgusting. And so but on the other side of things, if you need a company, there's a lot of like really like righteous companies out there that are going to calculate for you and maybe even pitch out for you. But for the most part, if you know your business and you're reading up on everything, make the best deal that you can make for yourself. If you come to that fork in the road, to decide if I'm going to get a publishing deal, a co-publishing deal, or a admin deal. choose to
Yeah.
write.
Got it. Carolyn, over to you. I think you're still on mute, Carolyn. I think you still muted yourself. So take us off mute and we'll see hear what you're doing there. Let's see here. You're still on mute there. Does your computer turn on mute? Hold on. Let's see. You're on mute within the ping. See if you're come off mute there. There you
Yeah,
go.
because I'm not.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can
Awesome.
hear you now.
So I was saying a lot of people will look at music business deals and just try to model themselves after songwriters they like or songwriters that they admire or do their same genre. It's more about knowing who you are as a creative. You know, if you need someone to go to bat for you because you're completely creative, you have no business acumen, and you're not interested in that, you may need a publishing deal so that everything can go through those A&Rs who will go and help you find people and what have you. If you're not good with communicating with people or you have social anxiety, then you may need, you know, a bulky, if you will, business model for yourself as a songwriter so that you have multiple representatives at each part of your business to stay afloat, to stay writing, to stay connected to the songwriting community. So I think once you know who you are, then you can figure out, well, what deals do I need, right? But you have to start with yourself. And I think it's beautiful for Taura because she's been able to figure out who she is as a creative, and she knew, okay, I no longer need that. But at 23, she may not have known whether or not she needed it and just took it because the industry says this is a big deal.
Right. At
And
any
so
time.
it's like, figure out. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say at any
Go
point.
ahead.
Yeah, I agree, because even with admin deals, you can get everything that you just mentioned. Or if you do a co-publishing deal, just to take as little as possible so that you're not in a hole forever, and that you know what your what all the other little stipulations that could keep you from progressing to the second contract period. But having a co-publisher without having a hit is almost like, to be honest, it's a tough thing. Even it's going to get you into a hole. That's that's my 80-20 rule. But I do agree that sometimes you need, if you feel like you need a person that is going to liaise between you and the music community, there's a lot of different ways to get that. And if it is with co-publishing, just making sure it's a fair company, and possibly doing an admin deal. And they still will do that for you with admin deals.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we got about 3 more minutes left with you. Want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how did you go from making a song about how Rick James is sexy to working with Kid Cudi and Ariana Grande on a major hit?
Wait, what?
Does his research.
I didn't write a song about Rick James, but when I was a little girl, I used to have this book, and I wrote all my poems and songs and just little thoughts. And when my cousin found my book, I thought that I was in trouble when I thought for sure she was going to read all about Rick James, but she was more interested in, like, I can't believe you wrote this, in terms of like my songs and stuff. But rest in peace. I thought he was the sexiest man when I was a child. I didn't know what the word meant. I think I heard someone else say it, but I just know I loved the glitter in his hair, and that's what sexy meant to me back then. But I came from there. I think, again, believing, becoming, and also righteous. I know it sounds corny as hell, but another thing, I'm from the land of idioms. I'm from Alabama. Okay, so I have 1,000 of them. So my grandmother always says, and she's 93, she's still with us, and she always says, "Do right, and they'll sure enough follow you." Mm-hmm. And so I stand on that, because I don't care what people think. Like, LA is a fake place, so you'll meet a lot of people that you think like this can't be, but don't always be so jaded like that. Sometimes people are really good, and sometimes people are really righteous. And if you can be one of those people then you make this place a better place for all of us. And that's just something that I stand on. I may fall short sometimes, but I try to be the best friend, the best woman, and the best person I can be.
Amen.
Mhm.
What is the best way for us to keep in touch with you and to support you?
Oh, thank you. Well, I don't really do well at social media, but I do check in when I've decided that what works for me is to check in when I have things going on, and just to keep my private life in here and in my private life. So if you ever want to DM me, I will check it when I get to it. And it's Tara Stinson all around on Twitter, Instagram, um, Facebook. I did just download TikTok, so I'll get to
Okay.
that. But my web address is tarastinson.com. You can always email me there, and I check that every day.
Amazing. Well, we do appreciate you giving time with us today. I know you are quite busy, so we appreciate it. We're going to keep in touch and support you, and just thank you very much for what you do in the industry, because you are absolutely a leader. Keep doing it. Go ahead, Carolyn. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Hey,
Okay.
we can't hear you.
We can't hear you again. It's okay. It's still, it went back on mute. But
Oh,
yeah,
keep it
we say,
across.
yeah, we will say,
Oh, did you?
go ahead. You got to take us off mute. Hold on. We gotta work with you on the little mute button there. So while she's taking us off mute, we will continue to support you and follow you, and as you continue to get awards.
I'll wait for her to come back.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll wait. Yeah.
But I appreciate it. What a cool thing you're doing.
Yeah, because this is like one of my passions is the music industry. I didn't even tell you, and like just education, because we see so many young and up and coming artists just don't know what to decide. Like it's okay to sign with the label, but you need to know why and how it can benefit you and all that.
Mhm.
So it's the purpose of the show is to educate, to bring people on with different perspectives, and share things. And what you shared is perfect. So we appreciate it. Go ahead, Carolyn. Try it again. I think we hear you now.
Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes?
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Tara, for taking our time.
Of
I
course.
also wanted to just pub Spotify has songwriters pages. So as you search Taura Stinson, you can search on her song as a songwriter, search her as a songwriter, and you'll see all of the songs that she has written where all the credits are correct. And just look up was the song Amani was referring to with Kid Cudi and Ariana Grande. A beautiful, beautiful song.
Thank you.
And there's just so many more. So I just want to encourage people to find you, find your songs, because she really is. It's not just one genre or whatever. You could not ask a Tara Stinson, well, what do you write, or what genre do you write?
Mhm.
She writes timeless songs
Oh,
with lyrics that are meant to tell stories. And I think that's the beauty of the writer part of the songwriter, right? Where
thank you.
if any story is being told, there's a way for her to encapsulate it. And that's why she has so many in title credits and those types of things. It's really about finding the moral of what a story needed to say. And so I just encourage y'all to go to that. And thank you again, Tara.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Carolyn. Thank
All right.
you. Oh,
We
All
will
right.
see you. Some round of
Y'all have a good one.
applause. Take care.